okay, so how hard am I, working my Instagram or some other things, or to help my business?
Yeah.
Am I reaching out to clients and all that? I think the hardest thing.
What's going on, family? It's your boy Pop here, and welcome to another episode of Creative Conversations, where we have amazing guests just basically talking about what makes them so amazing and dope, right? And so today, it's no different. We actually have a very, very important and a guest that is very near and dear to my heart. I was able to meet this gentleman, and he embraced me right away. And we've been able to build a really cool friendship over some really cool things. So today, if you want to know about AI, if you want to know about 3D printing, if you want to know about the future in regards to where it is that we're going as far as technology is concerned, then this is most certainly an episode you want to tap into. All right, let's get into it. Going on,
hey,
my brother?
How you doing, sir?
Mr. Rob Steiner in the building, the one and only Rob Steiner, right?
I believe there are others, but yes, I'm the only one in the building.
The creator of, or the owner of Studio Roboto, right here in Switch 210, right in the heart of White Plains, New York. Want to appreciate you, Rob, for coming in and talking to us today. Listen, we got a lot to cover. Right? But I always like to start at the beginning, so then this way the end always makes sense, right?
All right.
And so tell me a little bit about who you are, where you grew up, right? And I want to transition into how did you become, or how did you get to where you currently are? So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where you grew up? Tell me a little bit about that.
I'll give you the Reader's Digest condensed version, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, you don't want to burn too much memory on your camera. But so I'm from the Midwest, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay.
The Rust Belt kind of area, Ohio, Michigan, that type of thing. And when I was in high school, was literal in the 79 time frame was the height of union power in the United States. It's when you could go to work at a factory, and this is, and make entry level $25 an hour.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right? So sweeping the floor. If you knew somebody, your dad would get you in, you join the union, et cetera.
Yeah.
And then there's guys who are making, double that, and then with, holiday work or overtime. So it was a super blue collar community where I lived. My parents were educators, so my mom was a teacher, my dad worked at a college, but they weren't part of that manufacturing side.
Yeah.
So then I think it was 1981, International Harvester, which was a huge, manufacturer, went on strike. Like, hey, we want more money, benefits, whatever. And the company's like, oh, okay, that's great. Sounds good. We'll settle the strike. And they left.
What?
And so if you think about it, everyone had been on strike, I think, for about a year and a half. The company left, so there's no jobs. What? So the economy basically imploded. And because of that, so now here I am graduating. What am I going to do? I'm too stupid to go to college at that point. So I'm like, oh, well, I'll join the Navy, or join the military. So you go talk to recruiters. They're like, yeah, cool. And then, so anyways.
Yeah.
Talked to the Navy guys. They were nice. They took me to Chuck E. Cheese and bought me beer. So I'm like, all right, I'll join the Navy. So that's how it started. I got in the Navy, and I did. So I went as, and I'll skip over a lot of stuff, but I was a mechanic. I was a jet engine mechanic, but they put jet engines on ships. So that's how they powered the ship. So they
Interesting.
Yeah. So super efficient, and whatnot. And the ship I was on was a prototype. It was called the USS Pegasus. It was a hydrofoil. So it had wings that lowered down into the water.
What?
Right. And then it had a giant jet engine with a jet ski pump on the back. And so they'd crank this thing up and it'd come up out of the water and fly around. Yeah. So this was 83. Still, it's the military and it's the Navy. I was in the engine room, which if you've ever been in an engine room, which Lord help you, you don't want to be, but I was in Key West, Florida. It's 110 degrees, and I worked in an engine room for 3 years. So you just sweat, and it's miserable, and it's work. It's like a car mechanic, but on a big scale, super hot, noisy, and it's the military. So I hated it. I didn't like it. There's a theme here of not liking things. You'll see. So, and then when you weren't working in the engine room, you either had to do fire drills or or stand watch.
Yeah.
And so stand watch is if the ship's in port, they give you a gun, you put on your clean uniform, and you stand there on the brow, which is like a gangplank like thing. And if somebody comes up, you salute them. What do you want? Okay, come on in, and you guard the ship. And so when a ship is created till the time it's destroyed, basically, there's somebody standing watch on the ship, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, forever. And you write your name in the log. It's this whole thing. Anyways, Key West, Florida, 100 degrees outside. Just get out of the engine room, standing on the quarterdeck, which is where you stand watch. And it was probably 9 o'clock in the morning, been up already since 4.
Yeah.
Hot, miserable. And I'm standing there with this quartermaster chief and nice guy, Chief Nichols. And Chief Nichols he'd been in Vietnam, so he had awards and ribbons that went like above his shoulder.
Yeah.
Super nice. Nothing fazed him. So we're standing there. He's like, "Hey, what's up, Steiner?" I'm like, "Hey, Chief, how you doing?" All of a sudden, I see this dude in tennis shoes and shorts just running down the pier. Bing, 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 bing. And the military, uniform. I'm like, "Hey, like,
Yeah.
who the hell's that guy?" And he just runs to the end of the pier, does a big jump, dives in, swims back. It's like a little rope. Climbs up the rope, gets out, and just runs back out. I'm like, he can't do that. And he goes, "Oh, that's the bomb squad guys. They're crazy. No one tells them what to do." And I went, "Well, that's what I want to do." Because I want to go swimming. So you ask around, and there's this little hut hidden over in the corner of the base. And I go, yeah, that's where they're at. The bomb squad guys are over there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, nobody knows what they do because they have a big sign that says "Do not enter" and all this type of stuff. Secret, authority and all this type of stuff. And no one goes there. I'm like, okay, well, they're in there. So I walk over, I go, knock on the door. I wait, and this dude opens the door. He opens the door. He goes, "What do you want?" And I go, "I want to do what you do." And he looks at me up and down just like this. He goes, 0700 tomorrow, bring your shoes. Bam. And slams the door in my face. I'm like, okay. So then I got to go beg to, get off work. And nobody, what? Huh? Were you going to go over there?
Yeah.
Anyways, bring my tennis shoes. Basically, they're like, "Oh, it's you." Okay. And they have a little secret garage area about the size of this thing. It's got boats and equipment, motors and a truck and all this stuff. It's all inside. It's all camouflage and all that type of stuff. And they go, "Okay, let's get going." 1, 2, 3. You start exercising, and it's called mashing, but exercising, they just do their workout. And they're in a little circle. There's 4 dudes and me, and they're just like, "Okay, let's go." And you just start exercising for like an hour.
Okay.
Just to see what happens.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we're done. Push-ups, sit-ups, all these stretches and all this kind of calisthenics type of stuff. Okay, now we're gonna go running. Like, all right, now granted it's Key West. Now it's 8 o'clock. Now it's 90.
Yeah.
Degrees out. They go, "Oh, we're gonna run our course, whatever." I'm like running, and I could run basically a little bit. It was pretty decent, And they're running, and it's like one dude, like their fastest guy, and I'm like chasing their fast. I don't know where I'm going. I'm chasing this guy, and then he comes back. I'm dying, comes back and like, "Oh, okay, hey man, you did all right. Well, see you tomorrow." And they all walk in, and I'm like, okay, and I'm
Yeah.
Anyways, what they're doing is they're screening you to see like, okay, are you physically fit?
Yeah.
I showed up, which now I realize was just like you have an interest, a desire to. And the driver for me was I didn't like being in the engine room. I didn't like standing watch. And the regular Navy is very, certain way.
Yeah.
These guys basically, then I would go back and do some other things. And then you're kind of like, okay, you seem cool. You're not an idiot. All right, cool. Like, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, well, I want to go do what you do.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, okay, well, you got to talk to Lieutenant, Lieutenant and go in the office, stand there, yes, sir, and all that." It's like, so you want to go EOD, which is Explosive Ordnance Disposal. That's the Navy's term for it, right? And so basically I go talk to him. He's like, "Okay, cool. You can go in. I'll write you your letter. You got to get all these people, you got to behave and your evaluations. You have to be in the Navy for so long." So then they send you to school.
Okay.
You go to dive school. You go to jump school. You go to EOD school, which is like a year long.
Okay. Okay.
So that's a fundamental thing. And so the reason I'm telling you this is because as you jump forward to being an entrepreneur, you're going to see where I got that from. It's not just me going,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So EOD school is it was in Indian Head, Maryland. It's at the end of this road. Like it's south of DC. It's across from Quantico. And it's all about explosives, weapons, and it's not like it's not like Mission Impossible,
Okay.
like CIA stuff. It's like practical, like, oh, an airplane crashed. Okay, crash in the water. That's why the Navy part comes in.
Yeah.
We have to dive down. We have to take off this bomb. If it has a fuse on it, you have to remove the fuse. Then you take a you take a balloon, lift it up, tow it to the beach, pick it up with a forklift, put it on a truck, drive it someplace safe, and either blow it up or it sits there or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the Navy. So it's a very practical, very technical. Everything's written. The joke is all the procedures. So it's very procedural, and everything's written in blood because somebody ignored the safeties or became, there's a saying, familiarity breeds contempt. So you think, oh yeah, I've been around this, and I literally have dudes I work with that don't have fingers. The dude blew his face off.
What?
Because they skipped some form of those safeties. So anyways, that's what the school's all about.
Yeah.
So the deal in school is I came from the fleet, the Navy fleet. And so the way they kind of control you or keep you motivated is if you fail out of school, which means if you get an 85 or below, they consider that a failure. And the reason they do that is because 86 and above is considered above average. You better be above average if you're working with us.
100%,
So they have this standard. And the school itself is basically, you get there at 8, 0800, get out in the military, do your stuff, 0800 to 1600. And then every night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, they have 4 hours of night study. Okay, so go to school, and you got to go do your homework. You got to go into it's because it's all secret stuff. You got to go to a building, log in, time clock, then they go to a locker, they take out the book, and you can look at the book, and you give them the book back, and they put it away, and then you can leave, they clock you out. Like, it's that, like, regimented.
Wow.
So you got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 hours. Friday, they give you off. Saturday, you have 8 hours of study available.
Okay.
And Sunday, you have 4 in the afternoon in case you want to go to church or something like that. And the deal is every week you take a test. You take a practical test, like they hide something in the dirt and you go dig it up or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you take a written test. If you score less than an 86 or 85 or below, you've failed your test. They pull your night study card and they go, how much night study did you do? So they pull the card and they look, if you've done less than 50% effort, they just say, thanks, it's been nice working with you. And they send you back to your ship, back to the engine room, cleaning it. Yeah. So you would, that's 16, 24, 32 hours of studying that if you maxed it out. And you could manage it depending on, and some dudes were just brilliant. So they're like, But me, I'm like, I gotta go. So that's where I got my kind of work schedule and ethic, was in the Navy and in Navy EOD. And then I did a bunch of crazy stuff. I was, traveled all over, did some cool things in the military. And then, basically I did 10 years in the service. But at 10 years, you have to decide if you're going to play the game. And now you're in charge. And so if you didn't like being yelled at, well, now it's your turn. You're in charge. You got to yell at people. That's not my mindset.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do that.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, I'm getting out. What am I going to do? And also, too, is I'm 27 at that point. And I got some dude who's 23 that went to college, and he's telling me what to do. I'm like, dude, and that's the other thing.
Yeah,
so you gotta roll over.
Yeah.
It's that dog that doesn't. You gotta roll over, dude. And you don't want to pride and all that. It's like, but you got to.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, and that's not, I'm not sorry, poo-pooing it, but if you can do that, you do your 20, you get your retirement. Hey, great. Good, right? I couldn't do it, so I got out, went to college. Basically wanted to be an engineer, got into calculus. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. So I'm failing everything in engineering. So I'm like, but I thought engineering.
Yeah.
Switch over to English. I got an English degree.
Okay.
So now we're progressing.
Yeah, there you go.
Got out. So my favorite story is Honda. So because I was in the military, I would meet different dudes, like at the gym, because I still would work out and do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So I meet some dudes like, hey, you're running? Oh, we were at this running club. I went, oh, okay, talking. And one of the guys was like, oh, have you heard about the internet? This is 1995. I'm like, what? Because it's this thing, man, the computers, they talk to each other, and they have this lab in the football stadium at Florida State University. And it's brand new. They built, of course, football school, right?
Yeah.
But they had all this money, so they built this lab. It's about twice the size. It's got all these computers. He goes, but they're hooked up to the internet. And I'm like, well, what's that mean? He goes, you can go in, and he goes, they have a job thing there, man. Like they post these jobs.
Yeah.
I'm like, because I'm a senior, I'm graduating. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you just go apply for jobs. And so I go over, I talk to the lady, goes, well, you got to get a suit and tie. And it's this whole like thing, right?
Yeah.
So I get in a suit and tie to sit in front of a computer and look for jobs.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I click on one for Honda because I go, oh, I could sell cars. I like cars.
Yeah.
You know? And so anyways, long story short, I click on a job for the CIA. The CIA had a job like analyst job, and then something like, I think it was like Office Max or something like that. So Office Max was first interview, and they suit and tie again. They come in, and it turns out because no one knew what the internet was, I was like the only guy because some engineer buddy of mine had told me about it, so I could apply for this job.
Yeah.
And so there's CIA guy, Honda, and Office Depot or Office Max guys there, and I'm like the only candidate.
What?
So I had no competition.
Yeah.
So first guy's up the CIA, and he's like, yeah. He's looking at my grade. He's like, got a C- in Spanish. He goes, bit, yeah. And he goes, we like you because you're an English major.
Yeah.
And because you're ex-Navy EOD, we write military documents and analyst things, and we need people who can write and have some. You had a secret clearance and all that. Like that's why you're attractive. He's like, yeah, but we just like, okay. So that was it. That was the interview. I was like, I interviewed with the CIA.
Yeah.
I was spy. I was like, yeah, boom, that didn't work. So anyways, next is Office Max Depot guy. Anyways, and this is over 2 days. So the Office Max Depot guy goes, hey, hi, I'm SVP of this. I'm down, very poor program. So he goes, what do you know about Office? Tell me what you know about Office Max. And I'm like, you can post-it notes there. And he just goes, all right. Because I'm older, I'm at this point, I'm 30. Yeah. I went to school later. It's like, hey man, I was gonna stop you. Normally you do some research on the company before you come for the interview. Yeah. You would look up what we do, how we do it, where we're located, and what you want to do, whatever. And I'm like, oh, because he gave me a solid. He's like, all right, I'm just letting you know. He goes, you're not a fit for what we're looking for. Yeah. I'm like, damn.
Oh my God. But you didn't have no competition to Rob.
Well, yeah, I didn't have, I know. So I'm down 2, I got 1 left. And the next day is Honda purchasing. Yeah. Okay. And of course I think Honda sales. I'm like, well, let me look up, actually read the job description. Yeah. I look it up and it's all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know any of this, man. And they're coming tomorrow, 9 o'clock. So it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm like, I'm screwed. I need a job. Yeah. What am I going to do? I have no other opportunities. And I went, wait, I'm an English major, creative writing. I can research short stories. You had to read all these books and write papers on it. Yeah. And write, I remember, fiction, 306, you wrote a fictional story about things, whatever. Yeah. I'm like, well, let's go to the library, man. Let's now I go and I put it to work. So I go purchasing, automotive, pull the little cards, the Dewey Decimal System, and I got this stack of books about this high, man. And I went back to my crappy little apartment, and I read all those books. I stayed up all night. What? I read every book on Honda, which there weren't that many. Honda, procurement, purchasing, automotive, supplier type of stuff, and I just took notes, and I wrote in my head a story. This is a Honda people. So the interview comes, and I'm sitting in this interview, and I'm like, I got all the stuff that I just read. So it'd be like you asking me about, I read your book. That's great. Chapter 4, really, where the lion came in, and then the parachute. And so when I'm talking procurement stuff, I'm like, yeah, that's great. ERP systems and the way they interface with production. Yeah. It's great, goods receipts when they come in and, shipping, and they're just like, wow, how do you know this stuff? I go, oh, well, military, just making it up. I'm buffaloing beyond belief because I need this job. And they're like, we really like you. And so anyways, but then I find out Honda, again, yet another place. Yeah. You go to work, it's a slave ship, basically. It's just horrible, right? And
back in the
constant theme, right? So anyways, so I was go ahead.
But I know I wanted to stop you there. No, I wanted to stop you there because that's fascinating, Rob. And reason why is because I'm always fascinated by, and granted, I'm not that old, But I mean, that young, I should say. But I was, when I was growing up, we didn't have internet. You know what I mean? So the library was most certainly was the place.
Yeah.
But I always have to stop people, particularly when I'm having conversations, because I think it's worthwhile to put a pin in the fact that this is before the internet.
Oh yeah.
This is before ChatGPT. This is before all of that.
Yeah. Now,
you know what I'm saying?
Now you would just type in, give me the top interview statements.
Yep.
Ranked 1 to 10 that will get me a job with
Exactly. And you can have it do your research for you. You can have it do it all that. But you went to the library, got the books
and read them
all, so you could, in preparation for this opportunity, because that was the only opportunity that you had at the time. Like you basically was about to strike out. You 2 strikes in.
And if we jump, we skip over some stuff, but basically in what that taught me is that, one, I wasn't prepared. 2, that I could be prepared and I could do it, but that's like, a Hail Mary pass type of thing, which isn't the right way to do it. And then I kind of the consequences of not performing in the military and being evaluated at above average and the extra work that it takes. So now if we jump into what I'm doing, and I did corporate, I did startup, there's whole millions of stories there. But basically, for what I do now, I apply that. I work 6.5 days a week.
Yep.
And I research and self-train, because YouTube is just something awesome, right? Like I can find what I want on YouTube for 3D printing, AI is emerging, and it's all like, okay, it's time, it's effort, and will, and this information is there. So when I pull it out and then I can apply it with these other things, that's how I've been able to stay alive as a business and compete.
Yeah.
So I've been here, 5 years in this building almost. And so that's the genesis of all this with these things, right?
Yeah.
So these situations where, okay, I pulled one out, with that interview, but I realized, and then when I started, like I'm sitting in this room with some kid who went to college for procurement.
Yeah.
I'm sitting right next to him.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized that sometimes it's like, yeah, okay, great. Now he was smoother, smarter, and understood it, but I did the same job as him, because I basically did OJT. I was like, hey, and I asked questions, be nice to people, figure it out, and then, okay, cool. Then I moved on from there. But that also taught me that if you're, motivated either through need or necessity, you can do things.
Yeah, you could.
Right.
And when you have that is, there's so many jewels in that though, Rob.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you said, the preparation fact, but also what you had, or what you had at your disposal. You had the people skills. You understood the importance of actually being nice to people, and all of those little. It's almost like I think about like in terms of basketball, like a Dennis Rodman, right?
Yeah.
He's not gonna give you 1,000 points, but what he understands the nuances that make him a threat and also an asset to his team. Yeah. And so you were able to use all of these skill sets, even though you hadn't been to college, or or you weren't prepared for that particular opportunity. There was still other skill sets that you had acquired that allowed you to be able to, that you can leverage in order to get that position. Yeah. And I can also see how that could translate into where you are now. And you started to mention. So tell us, what do you do?
Yes.
Tell us what you
talk
do.
a lot.
No,
I love talking about that stuff. But so what I do is I do 3D scanning, 3D printing, digital design, laser cutting, and I do a lot of AI stuff now. So I create things. The way I summarize that is, where do you go when you just need one thing? So, and that's very, you think about it, it's like I need one thing.
Yeah.
And that could be, and so, there's some limits to that, but it's very hard to find somebody to help you design, to manufacture, to sit down with you and interact with you. If you have a low budget, right, or you only need one thing.
Got you.
So that's my niche play.
Okay.
And then the secondary piece is that 3D printing by itself can be very frustrating and confusing and prone to failure.
Yeah.
And people are like, I'll just buy a 3D printer, and then you realize all the stuff that comes with it, and then you just give up and you put it in the corner of your garage.
Yeah.
So I've spent the last, I saw my first 3D print at Honda, believe it or not, in 1996.
Really?
Then I used my graduate student loan to actually 3D print something in 1998.
What?
And I bought that was on a commercial printer, and then I bought my first 3D printer in 2010. So I've been doing this, and that was super, the bell curve way out here, outlier, nerd fest type of thing. So that's, how I got into it was basically, so how I got into 3D printing, thank you for asking.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Was I worked at a software company.
Okay.
Again, in same kind of thing. So I hated it, they treat you badly, whatever. It's like this repetitive bad relationship I have, with companies. But it paid well, whatever. But every quarter, man, they fired people, man. They outsourced stuff. It was just, and it's this blade, you're like, dodge it, right? And so I was like, well, what am I going to do? I got to find something else to do. It's like, oh, go back in the military. Nah, too old. Be a cop. Nah, they're too old. Like all these things. Like, eh. So I took one of these online tests because the internet was around in basically 2009 timeframe. And I was like, oh, it's like you should be a carpenter because it's making these things. And it's everything they identified. It was like, ooh, you should go in the military. I'm like, done that. You should do this. I'm like, okay. Should be a carpenter. I'm like, yeah, but I got to buy like tools and where am I going to put them and sawdust and I don't vents and I'm kind of like, but it sounded neat. And somehow on some random thing, I found out about 3D printing. And I said, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
What if you could do that, So started to follow it. And it's like, oh, plastic parts. And then one thing kind of led to another. And I found this Japanese model making site, sci-fi models, right? And so it was a forum, and I'd never been on a forum before.
Yeah.
So I log in, and I see all these pictures, and these guys are talking. I'm like, hey, I like robots. And basically, I'm a grown man, but I'm the equivalent of like a 10-year-old kid because I know none of the rules.
Yeah.
People are like, yeah, you suck. Anyways, so you can buy these kits. I bought one of these kits.
Yeah.
Right? And it's super cool the way they're packaged. Just really fit my personality. Build it. Paint it, take a picture, put online. People go, oh, it's great. You should add the little widgets on the bottom. And it's that's the kind of community.
Yeah.
Anyways, so sitting there going, wow, what am I going to do? I like this Japanese model kit stuff. And I need to find something else to do. So 2010, I ordered this printer from Israel. It's called an Objet, which I think I was like the third person at least in the East Coast to buy it.
Wow.
And I ordered it.
What was the price of it?
$30,000.
$30,000, Rob.
But I started an LLC. So entrepreneur thing.
Yeah.
And there's a section 179 of the tax code allows you when you buy some capital equipment, you get to deduct 50% of the purchase price in the first year and the remaining 50% over 5 years. So I was incorporated, I was making good money. I dumped my taxes down and I'm like, ooh, this is a good strategy.
Yeah.
So get the printer, start trying to figure out how to use it. And, it's just, it's an alien technology and whatnot. And so I'm on this website, and I'm like, oh, look, man, I 3D printed this part. And people are like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, and so they liked it. And so, hey, man, can you make me a gun or a little, not gun, but, like a little, laser.
Like
silly stuff. Yeah. Anyways, I'm like, oh, this is great business. I'll start making Japanese model kits because I'm so into it. And I'll sell them. This is great. And this is from my, narrow tube view of this thing.
Now, this is still in the 90s?
No, this is 2010.
Okay, 2010. Okay. Oh, that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now I'm like, okay, I'll sell these models and this will be great. And I realize I don't live in Japan. I'm not Japanese and I don't speak the language.
Yeah.
And they're 12 hours ahead, right? So a lot of these people, translate and all that. Anyway, long story short. So I have this printer and I'm making stuff and going back and forth. And, I learned how to use it and talk to designers. I'm like, hey, because, it's just a new world, which I loved. I just loved it. And so I go into work one day and my boss is like, hey, Rob, hey, we're meeting in the conference room. I'm like, oh, okay. And I walk in and I went, oh, no.
The firing squad.
They're like, hey, your position's been eliminated. They snuck, because they're real stealthy on how they do it, right? It can't be like, hey, we need to talk to you.
Yeah.
We need to talk to you. It's very serious.
Yeah.
Hey, come on in. We're having a party. And walk in. I went, and I was more like,
Yeah.
Because they got me.
Yeah.
Not that they were laying me off, because I knew they were going to get me eventually.
Yeah.
So anyways, get laid off. Now what am I going to do? I'm miserable. Da da da.
Yeah.
And someone said, well, you like these 3D printer things? Why don't you find one of those companies, go to work for them? I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. Like,
Yeah.
It didn't even dawn on me. So I look online, can't find anything. Look online again. I go, what was that company? Oh, MakerBot. Yeah. So I find their website, and they have a job posting.
Wow. When you look at
So
that.
that's how. So I applied for this job. Long story short, I show up in a suit and tie. They're smoking weed when I walk in. There's a dude with no shoes and another guy rolling around in a skateboard. And I walked in, I go, what is this? And I go upstairs, I meet the founders, whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, I'm corporate. And they're looking at me, and I don't, like, they got long hair. One
Yeah.
dude paints his nails. Not that they, but it's just
Yeah.
like, I'm like not.
Culture shock. It's a
right,
culture
I'm
shock.
not their guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I'm sitting there, and it's an hour interview. I'm like 45 minutes in, and I'm reading the room, and I go, this isn't going well. And I go, hey, man, you know, I'm in this monkey suit, but this isn't really who I am. And the founder, one of the founder guys, Bree, he's a great guy. He goes, oh, really? Well, who are you? Like that, you know, profound, like, and that's how he is. And he's
Yeah.
really perceptive.
Yeah.
Like he's, of anyone I've ever met, and he can look at somebody and goes, that guy's not going to work out, or that guy's, like, he just
Yeah.
has this gift. Anyways, so he's like, oh, really? I go, I got this website, and I make Japanese models. He's like, oh, what's the website? You know, pulls it up. I have this cheesy website. He's like, oh, you're a model maker. And I'm like, huh? No one's ever called me. Like, yeah, it's like a career field, you know, like in Hollywood. But I didn't know that. I was just like, oh, what? I'm a nerd, you know? And he's like, oh, and he goes, well, how do you make these? I go, well, I got the, and I start my same thing. I start babbling about, oh, I bought this printer, and I learned how to use software, and I do all this, and I'm on this forum. He's like, dude, when can you start?
What?
And Jenny, the head of HR, like hits him. It's like, stop that.
Yeah.
No, you don't offer him a job. We got to talk. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, no, dude, can you start? When can you start? I go, I'll start tomorrow, man.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Next day at MakerBot, running their running their product division.
Yeah.
And as the company grew,
Now this is a startup.
this is a startup.
Okay.
Pure startup. They had
Okay.
10 million in VC funding, which was a blessing, but they were early. So the guy who spotted MakerBot was, did very well. But basically, it was a startup, and my job was to get it just organized. So I go back to my military stuff. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Group of dudes, line them up. Here's what we're doing. Here's
circle.
the schedule. You want to work extra, and I worked my ass off. But I always tell people, I said that was the best job I ever had, but I never had to work so hard in my life. I thought it was going to kill me.
Yeah.
Stress, but that's startup. But it was also the coolest thing. And it was something I really enjoyed. And one of the groups that I was, quote, in charge of, I was in charge of everybody at some point, one person, and then you would hire a sales guy and the sales team, a director, a VP of sales, and all those people. So everyone had to report to somebody, and early on, many of those people reported to me. So I get to learn different things. Anyways, so one of the teams that I helped build was the design team, because we sell these 3D printers. MakerBot sells the printer, but what do you print on it? And there just wasn't the stuff that there is now. So if you go back to 2012, there might be a couple models online, and maybe somebody, but it just wasn't what it is today.
Wow.
So I stole this guy from Hasbro. He hired a bunch of kids from Ringling University who worked we slid bologna slices under the door. They worked so much, to feed them. And they would design all these toys and things like that.
Yeah.
And there's a website called Thingiverse, and you could download the model and print it. So there's your success factor. Long story short, MakerBot was doing very well. Stratasys, which was the evil Empire guys at the time, Down with the Man, came in and said, we're just going to buy you.
Down with the Man?
And they bought MakerBot.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And so when they bought MakerBot, what happens with a startup, if you're part of the leadership team in the startup, they're like, you're not a fit for corporate. And I know what corporate is.
Yeah.
And I lasted, I think I lasted maybe 6 to 8 months before they're like, okay, let's get rid of you.
Really?
Yeah. Moral that story is, anyway, so I startup, it was great. Corporate, I'm like, oh, this isn't going to work. They got rid of me, which I knew they would. What am I going to do? I'm like, I'm going to start my own business. That's how we got. So 10 years ago, well, not 10, 9 years ago, as of this summer actually, is when I started Studio Roboto.
Yeah.
And what do? I'm doing all the things, I'm doing digital design, 3D printing, and because I've grown up with 3D printing, so for now 27 years, like I can talk about it, I understand it, I can help you decipher it. I'm obviously super nerded about it.
Yeah.
I absolutely enjoy making things.
Yeah.
And so now if we jump all the way back to the beginning, it's like, okay, well, what did that take? And it's like, oh, it takes that effort.
Yeah.
It takes not necessarily a fear or a desire not to have to go to work, go to a job that I didn't like or whatever, and that I have to do my research.
Yeah.
Right? I have to plan ahead. And we were talking earlier about agencies and some other things, and also too getting burnt and learning that, working with people. I work with a lot of artists, and I always say I translate from what the artist wants to sort of the business side. So the artists are like, I'm so frustrated, I can't find anybody. I'm like, it's okay, cool. What do you want to do? I want to make this. Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Let me show you how we can do that. And you can sit with me in my office on the computer and like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
They're usually super overly excited, and then that calms down later.
Yeah.
But that's what I do. And so I watch that at MakerBot. I watch people go through that, and either in a very fulfilling side thing, and making things and creating stuff. And so, in any case, I truly appreciated it because I think I was maybe a little bit ahead because I understood it. And now what I'm doing is I cherry picked a lot of those things into what I do on a daily basis. Again, I have to hunt for my food.
Yeah.
My jobs don't just appear. Like, I have to either through references, I do a lot of grassroots marketing, some other type of stuff. I did some nonprofit work, et cetera, but that's where my business comes from. Referrals like, oh yeah, hey man, like some Rennis, the dude on the other side, his brother-in-law needed a fence cap or something for a fence.
Yeah.
Like Rennis like, oh, you should talk to Rob. Like he'll make that for you.
Yeah.
So I make this little fence cap. Now their fence looks all nice and neat all the way around the property. They're happy, right? But it's not a huge job, but it's like, okay, well now I've got an advocate. I've got an ambassador. I've got someone who's like, hey, look, we 3D printed those.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Who did that? Oh,
Yeah.
this dude. And that's how I built my business.
Okay.
That's why I'm sitting here, I suppose, because
That's right.
Right. So in any case, I used to be your next door neighbor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So now I'm downstairs. But that's how that roundabout story is how I ended up where I'm at today.
Yes.
And what I do. So what I do on a daily basis is, hopefully there's an email or somebody calls or Instagram or whatever it is for Studio Roboto, and it generates some form of work.
Yeah. See, okay. That's fascinating too. But and the full circle as far as, like you said, when you were going through it, right? From your origin story, when you're going through these, you're hitting these roadblocks, the factory closes down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have an opportunity coming out of school. You go into the military. You hate being there, and then you see this person, and then that turns into an opportunity just because you showed up.
Right.
And you got all of these additional skill sets because of that, or exposure to things on top of that. And it's just interesting how all of that compounds into where it is you are now. And then you have a business that allows you to be able to do what it is that you love, and allows you to continue to sharpen your skills, like we were talking about before. You continuing to enhance your skill set, and you're also able to now show other people how to do it. And I think one of the things that's interesting to me, particularly with your timeline, is the fact that when you're nerding out on this stuff, like, this is not critical mass at this particular point in time. Because for me, 3D printing was not something that I'm going to be honest, I don't even think it's been 5 years since I was introduced to the idea. So we talking 2020, 2019, maybe. You know what I'm saying? It's since I was actually introduced to 3D printing, like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? And so for those people who may be watching who don't really know what 3D printing is or what it produces, what are some of the things that we may see on an everyday basis in our everyday life that was 3D printed that we wouldn't even know with 3D printing?
Yeah. So Invisalign, remember the?
Yes.
So they were. I'm not sure they're still in business, but at one point,
they are. Yep.
Yeah, they had the largest outlay of 3D printers.
Really?
So if you think about it, so here's the trend of 3D printing was initially for making prototypes. Like, you're early on, you could make something, make a shape or whatnot. You didn't have to carve it out of wood or machine it out of metal or plaster. You could use a design software and would print this thing that then maybe the automotive industry, you could, a dashboard thing, and you could put it in, and then everybody could look at it. That was sort of the trend.
Yeah.
Okay. But the machines were inaccessible due to cost. Okay. And complexity. You had to have basically a mechanical engineer who knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
In a design software that cost thousands of dollars. And then the machine was at the cheapest at the time back in 2010 was $20,000.
Wow.
And up.
Yeah.
And then let alone just failures and nuances of early tech, right? So you had all that stuff going on. So, but basically it was built for prototyping.
Okay.
And then evolved into basically three pathways. One was melted, so think about weed whacker wire, melted in a hot glue gun and moving around in a circle, then up in a circle, up in a circle, up, and it makes a tube.
Yeah.
That's FDM or fused deposition modeling. And so that's the traditional, all your kid printers and all the vast majority of printers are that technology.
Got it. Okay.
And you have another one called stereolithography. And what that is liquid and laser. So you have a liquid and this laser goes zzz, and it zaps the liquid, and the liquid, there's a little tray and it moves down just a little bit and it zaps again, it's still stuck to it. It goes tick, 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 tick.
Yeah.
But it's liquid and laser. There's another one called SLS, which is selective laser sintering, and that's powder and a laser. So imagine sugar, and I zap it and it becomes hard. Then I sprinkle more sugar on it and I zap it again and it builds up.
Wow. Okay.
So those are three fundamental early stage technologies for 3D printing. Mostly prototypes, industrial, commercial use.
Yeah.
So MakerBot, jumping back to that, MakerBot looked at that and goes, well, that's crazy. It's so expensive. Let's build our own. So it had a bunch of really smart hackers, these three guys, Adam, Zach, and Bree. Bree's the marketing genius. Zach was like the hardware dude. And Adam was like the software guy.
Okay.
All very smart guys. But again, that Brooklyn hipster, total hipsters culture. Anyways.
Yeah.
But they built this machine called the MakerBot Cupcake, and people would buy it in a kit and started to take off. And this one venture capitalist guy, Brad Feld, noticed them at a trade show and was like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because we're disrupting, at the time, were disrupting an industry where the entry level was $20,000.
Yeah.
You could buy this thing for $700. He's like, and, you could make your own stuff. And that was the democratization of additive manufacturing and DIY, down with the man, open source. All
Yeah.
So that's how the tech sort of evolved. So now you can go to Best Buy or Micro Center and buy a little printer and go online and download the stuff. There's videos and all, and so you and your kids can print things. What I do that, but I do that on a let's say a more thought through level, and then applied. So I'm basically an application engineer. You go, hey man, I want to make this. I want to make which you probably need is a nice little 3D printed book holder. You go, hey, I want this, but I want our logo down here, right?
Yeah.
A little 8 or whatever, or creative agency. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'll go in and design it. I'll do the orientation. I'll print it, and I'll try to maximize all that knowledge and all that nonsense that I've learned over the past 27 years to make that thing quickly, cheaply, and to have a higher level of quality than you would get if you probably didn't know how to do it. And that's what I offer.
Got you.
So I help you. Like I met your sons, like, oh, they're probably doing it in school, but they're limited basically unless they want to spend all this time and energy, or the professor or teacher knows how to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I've learned a lot of this stuff the hard way, or been taught, or I nerd out and follow that. So I'm picking up things that every day when I come in, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do today?
Yeah. Okay.
So that's how the technologies evolved, and then how I apply those same things. And for those machines, there still are commercial industrial machines that I can't afford, but I can access them now because there's companies like Shapeways and Stratasys Direct, and like you can upload your file and they'll print it on $1 million machine on this super, NASA inspired plastic material, and they'll mail it to you. That's great.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Man.
Yeah. So it's really changed, but it's still like to navigate it. Like people are like, I'll just do it myself. I'm like, hey man, God bless.
Go get 'em. Go ahead. Yeah, go get 'em.
I'll see you in a month.
Yeah. No. Make sure you keep my number.
But it's like, okay, cool. Like, and I genuinely I like talking about it. So I've had people go, well, I'm just going to buy my own printer. I'm like, okay, man, do you want some advice? Or
yeah.
You want to figure it out on your own? Like or people say, I need to print, 100 of these. I go, I'm not really adding any value to it. So why don't I just connect you with this company that you order it from them yourself. Man.
Yeah.
Like you don't need me. And that's also my mantra of my business, which is friendship, trust, and generosity.
I love that.
So that's a hard-earned, segments. And the reason for it is like that's how I want to live my life. That's what I believe in.
Yeah.
I like to surround myself with people who are on the same mission as me.
Yeah.
And that could be small business. That could be talking about things.
Yeah.
Obviously, or trying to improve or make something or whatever. So I apply those. So if I can't, it's not just about making a buck. It's like, look, man, I'm not going to add anything to it. I can see you're concerned about cost.
Yeah.
So here's the cheap guy in China.
Yeah.
Even with tariffs and all that stuff now, it's like, yeah, you can get it cheaper over there. But invariably, a lot of times they come back because, well, I need to change this. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, he's $4. I can't touch it for less than $100.
Yeah.
He's $4. But you send him the file, he prints it and sends it back. Oh, something's wrong with it? Not. Good luck.
Exactly.
Right? Print another one.
Exactly. Until you get it right. So in actuality, the compounded cost.
They're very stoic. So that's the other thing. It's like you ordered a hamburger. Here's your hamburger.
Yeah,
Doors
that's
closed.
Boom.
And I'm like, hey man, you have a peanut allergy, or you have a vegan burger, you're gluten free. Like I'm more that kind of like dude on that side.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
that's a great analogy.
Yeah. And so now also, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
No, but the AI stuff. So now AI is emerging. So if you went back, man, 3 years ago, probably during COVID, 2022-ish time. So when AI stuff first started to generate, it was cool. It was kind of interesting. You type in something, it'll give you this like mashed potato looking thing, And so it's really evolved. And most recently it's evolved to either text or image to 3D model generating.
Okay.
So you can take a picture, let's say of your logo, and dump it into these AI generators, and it will generate a 3D model that you can spin around. So it's like digital clay.
Yeah.
And you can look at it.
Clay.
You can download it.
Yep.
You still have to do some work to it.
Yeah.
But you can then move that into the normal pipeline, the normal fabrication pipeline.
Gotcha.
Where before you'd have to have design software, know how to draw a figure 8 and overlap it and do all this, right? You could still do that on this end, but AI kind of goes, that looks like an 8.
Yeah.
And it goes, hey. So the way AI was explained to me, it's like either a very enthusiastic 5-year-old or a really Ivy League college intern. So you give them an assignment. So you tell the little kid model says, hey, go find me a fire hydrant. And it runs off and it brings back what it thinks is a fire hydrant.
Yeah.
And then it disappears. That's one model. The college intern thing is like that, and this is where it's kind of getting. It's like, hey, find me a fire hydrant, but I need it with, Seattle municipal waterworks like version. And it'll go find that exact thing. So now, as AI has evolved, it's more or less this college intern, relatively smart, maybe not life, savvy, but it can go find things and go, hey, here's this image. Well, that image now goes into this software, this other AI software, and it'll generate a model. And then the next step is, I want to print that. Click, and there's one company I've been working with that you press click, and it'll print and they'll mail it to you. It takes 3 weeks.
Okay.
Or you export that file, and now I'm in the traditional world. So I skip the design side of it and the software. I just paid $20 a month because I pay for it.
Yeah.
And I got, the numeral 8. I got to fix it. I got to do my stuff to get it what I want, but I do it just to prove the point.
Yeah.
again. So, because I want to be prepared for that interview, like the office guy and the CIA, you know.
Yeah.
I want to be like, oh, you come into my studio and you're like, that's cool, or I want to do this. I'm like, yeah, I used AI to create that, and here's how I did it.
Yeah.
So, if we, you know, the rambling conversation, I continuously go back, good or bad, and relive these moments. And like, okay, what am I doing today?
Yeah.
And how can I apply? What did I learn? What lessons did I learn?
Yeah.
And so the AI stuff, because it's also too, I rode that 3D printing wave. So I've seen what a startup, you know, what can happen. And AI has that same thing, but it's moving. So it's folding over itself every day. And it's getting better.
And better and better.
It doesn't sleep. Not the robots taking over.
Yeah.
But it's you will see everyone is going to see a fundamental change in the way we do things. Either because like I just chat GPT, let me talk to Steven, what's a good topic?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Or Steven mentioned X, you know, a camera type. Well, let me look up pricing. It does some, again, think of that college intern doing this research, bringing it back to you and going, how about this?
How about that? Yeah.
Now, outside of, is it true? We don't know.
Yeah.
But that's what they got.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And so for my work, because it's actually a shortcut, because I can now shortcut the design cycle. The files aren't that great, but I can get something conceptually where I can like cut it, clean it up, replace instead of a circle, maybe it's like morphed. I'm like, well, I have a circle in my software. And so that's what I'm working on. I'm actually working on that downstairs today.
Got you.
Trying to figure out like, okay, I have the printing, I have all these pipelines, and here's this new tool that I can just insert something. And if I can, as the technology evolves and it has less work, now you're going to buy a 3D printer and it's going to like, well, what do you want to make? And it's going to, you're probably talk to it and say, well, you know, my kids are really into Pokemon, so I want the yellow Pokemon, but I want them with a playing tennis, and it'll go,
yeah.
And then it'll say print, and you'll go print and go, you know, right?
Wow.
In color or whatever. Some of the stuff is like, there's like a step. It's almost like the chasm, right? So you and I are staying together, but there's a 10,000 foot chasm.
Yeah.
Okay. So in some cases you can just hop over, but if it's a little bit farther away, it's like, oh, like technology, cost, quality wise, it's a longer path.
Got you.
So that's where, you know, as of today, that's what I'm pursuing and trying to do. I'm actually trying to pitch a company to hire me to run that for them. Say, look, I'm already super nerd in it, 3D printing. I do this. You know, I only know of one company that has the, you know, this thing. And when they do, they have to do these other, okay, great. Let me, you know, again, over research and trying to be, you know,
super prepared.
So learning from 1995 to today, I've learned my lesson, right? So I'm like, hey, here's my, you know, using all my skills. Here's my portfolio. Here's my references, you know, reference work type of, so to speak. Here's, you know, my white paper that I wrote to demonstrate my thought process. Here's examples of the software, you know, here's all this stuff. And so that's where, you know, if I'm hopeful, is to be able to leverage and work AI into what I do right now.
Got you.
Doesn't necessarily, somebody still has to do the work.
Yeah.
Just somebody has to paint it, print it, pull off the printer.
Yeah.
Somebody's still got to hook up the internet. Like some of that stuff's, the human side's just never going to go away.
So I'm glad that you said that, because that's a segue. You know, is AI, in your opinion, something that should be feared or something that should be embraced?
I think there's both. If I don't know, what's a good thing? Someone, I can't remember where I heard this. It's like, just because you read a book on how to swim, when I throw you in the water, what's going to happen? Like, can you keep calm enough to utilize that information, or are you going to freak out and drown? And you're like, oh, you know, let's play my hands and kick my feet, like just because I read it. Okay, so that's the first kind of cautionary tale. The second one is, just because it's on the internet doesn't mean that it's true. Yeah. And another fundamental layer is like, it's only what's on the internet. So if I write a little note down, it's the secret of, you know, here's my secret. Yeah. I didn't put it on the internet. I didn't talk about it, so my phone can't capture it and send it to, you know, whoever's listening. Yeah. but that information that I have here isn't available. That, right?
Interesting.
So now you have these tiers. And so if you type in, hey, how do I do this, or what should I do for this? And it's giving you this advice, what's that based on? And right now you'd say, like, when I was a kid or in high school, if your car was broke, there's like the old guy down the street. You go, hey, Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
You know, like, I can't figure out my car. He's like, well, what year is it? 62. You know, he's like, oh, it's the solenoid, man. Just, alternate. Like, and they'd argue, and then the neighbor, and then boom. That's how you learn. Well, and then they had Chilton manuals. You know, you had a manual, you could look it up.
Yeah.
And the internet and whatnot. Now you have a TikTok. Hey,
exactly. Yep.
So the risk and the, not necessarily the fear is that people or influence, one is the ease of getting that. So I'll go back to the Navy when I was in EOD, and I was in Guam, and they found it. Some guy was rototilling his garden.
Yeah.
Tink. So, what's that? Digs it up. It's an old Japanese bomb from World War II.
What?
In his garden, because Guam was just bombed and assaulted, right? So everybody runs. Yeah. Okay. And they call you, hey, EOD. I'm like, okay, great. Get in our truck, driving down, boom, everyone's gone. You got to dig this thing up. And it's in a neighborhood. There's houses everywhere. So you can't blow it up there. You have to pick it up, put it in the back of a pickup truck, and drive it to a rock quarry. I'll never forget that. Looking up, right? Looking up, and I see those people in the mountain, like, looking at us, the news crews, whatever. But, it's fundamental is safety, so you follow the safeties.
Yeah.
And you're doing this. But if I just looked that up on, like, and I went to school for a year, and they tested you every week, all these things, right? I was motivated to learn my safeties. And you had these books. So you pick out the book and look at it and go, okay, that was written in blood, dude. Some guy lost his fingers because he didn't follow rules. Versus, I found a bomb, I found, what do I do? And it's like, well, bombs, you hit it with a hammer on the front really hard. Well, okay, why? Because ChatGPT watched a Wile E. Coyote cartoon and interpreted, but I'm saying, like, there's some fundamental structure things that if it's crooked or not connected or misaligned in some way, what could happen?
Yeah.
That's the scary part. Good part is I use Midjourney, and I can type in, give me, I like this particular artist, and there's debates on the learning how it gets the images, but I post my stuff online.
Yeah.
Right. That's my marketing platform. So I put it online. Maybe it's online. That's the tech. So if you don't want people to see it or a machine to see it, well, don't put it online.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But, I mean, and there's tons of debate on that, but the ability for me to create something. So my marketing material is postcards.
Okay.
And so instead of handing you a business card, I have these postcards, and they have images. Like, one's like a duck with a gun, another one's like some girl jumping on. And they're all AI generated, and I clean them in Photoshop, and they're all crazy stuff that I like, right? And the reason I do those is because somebody will see, like, I like that, and they'll take it. My business information's on the back of the postcard, but they like the image.
Yeah.
If I hand you a business card, you're like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm like, where is that? It's in a drawer.
Your
dad put it somewhere. Push pin, right? And so I use AI because I'm like, hey, and then I go to tradition. I go, I have 10 postcards. Which postcards do people take? This one with a girl that has tattoos and she's sitting there. I'm like, oh, those go like in a week.
Yeah.
This one that I thought was really cool is like some dude, and like nobody takes those. Why?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I thought it was cool. But now I'm using sort of traditional feedback, whatever. But then when I want to generate it in AI, I can go back and regenerate it. I can change it. Maybe the colors are different, whatnot. So there's the strength of that is using it as a tool and applying it to what you need. Is a strength. So I think that, it's like a teeter-totter, it's a balance.
Yeah, I got you.
I haven't seen a lot in the 3D printing space itself. I haven't seen a lot. I've seen some detection things and some other, but the two worlds that, I described are pretty much either the knowledge. It's like you have to have the wherewithal to realize that this may not be accurate.
Yeah.
That's a fair statement, right?
Yeah.
And then the other side is, wow, what a tool, what a speed improvement. What the ability, like, let's say I don't have the ability to do super high-end renders of shampoo bottles, but AI can.
Yes.
Right? And so that's a cool thing. And, like the other side, how do you apply it? I applied it for your door logo thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm like, oh, this is cool. This would be cool to talk. Right?
Yeah,
Do it, and it works.
Yeah.
So there's a whole workflow for it. So.
Man. Rob, this is good, man. I got one more question for you. And we kind of touched on it a little bit before we started off air. We talked about how entrepreneurship is not for the faint and heart.
Yeah.
Right. And as we know, as small business owners, we know that things can be up and things can be down. Right. And sometimes you don't know when that is. And so you being an entrepreneur, you being a small business owner, what are some of the things that you do or tap into that kind of helps you keep going when things are, down, for the lack of a better term?
Yeah. So like I said, if we were talking in December or January, I was like, man, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
We're jokingly, it was like, go to talk to the landlord, super cool guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, business is bad. He's like, it's gonna be all right, dude. Just relax. I'm like, he's got, sometimes it takes a little bit of perspective. So I'm like, okay, cool. Now what am I gonna do about it, right? Okay, so how hard am I, working my Instagram or some other things, or to help my business?
Yeah.
Am I reaching out to clients and all that? I think the hardest thing, and I'm a sole entrepreneur, so I have to do everything.
Yeah.
So I'm in charge of, taking out the trash to doing the design work,
Yep.
getting the software licenses, paying for things. How am I going to manage that budget? And I'm not super great at it.
Yeah.
Okay, but I have a fundamental understanding of money coming in and money going out.
Yep.
And while I am risk averse and debt averse, I've managed, with my credit card, I'll manage my credit card.
Yeah.
And then a job comes in, I'll pay that off. Like, how do I balance that out? So I say that's the first thing, some core, financial reasoning, like within reason.
Yeah.
That's number one. And the other thing is you have to will it to life. So if you look at any startup or any idea, so just as you guys have this space here and you wanted to do this podcast and whatnot, you thought about it and go, yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great. Cool. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yes.
Well, Rob will do it downstairs.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him, but I'm sure he'll like, no, he's not.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
You have to figure it out. You got to set it up. You got to test it. You got all this stuff going on. You have to do that.
Yeah.
Or you and your cohort or friends or however you're going to do. And I think that's the one thing that people miss. They love the idea. They love thinking about the success. They love thinking about, oh, I'm going to be able to do this. And then when you really boil it down, it's like, what is it? Well, it's a grind.
Yeah.
And the grind is getting up every day. This goes back to my military stuff, right?
Yep.
Go to school for 8 hours and then do your night study. And then you got to be above average, right? Or they're going to send you back. So I have that pressing little, tap, tap, tap on my shoulder. It's like, well, I don't want to go back to corporate, And I've thought, in January, I was looking for jobs. I'm applying, which is a whole nother dilemma. But it's like, okay, so what am I going to do? I'm like, okay, well, then let me cut costs. Let me optimize. So I'm driving, and then serendipity, the world, somebody reaches out. Hey, can I do this? I got no work, dude. And something to remember is also, too, $100 job and $1,000 job could be the exact same amount of work. Right? If you got no work, I'll do the $100 job.
Yeah.
Now this month I have $1,000 job. It's the same amount of work. So I always approach people and I treat them with the same level. I like it. But I also understand that that 10, if I have no work going on, I need 10 jobs to equal this. So in some cases you have to overwork, right?
Yeah.
To make the money. And again, going back to the military, right? So it's like, okay, this is what you got to do. And I always, with my wife, who's a private jeweler, she has her own little business. She makes rings and engagement rings and anniversaries. And if you were to inherit some old jewelry, she can help you, refresh it and do all that.
Wow.
So she does that.
Yeah.
And so I watch her struggle as well. She's in the same conceptual line of work as an entrepreneur and startup, whatnot. And so sometimes we're like, okay, well, two things. So one is I'm always like, and she's like, oh, I got all this work and these vendors want this software. I got to pay this bill. I got, internet. I got electricity. I got to pay the rent. I go, well, that's what it takes. It'd be nice if somebody just hand you all the money.
Yeah.
But this is what it takes. If you're self-funding, you're running yourself, this is what it takes. That's the first thing. And I was whining about something, and I was like, oh, success, and, I don't feel successful. And she goes, well, define success.
That part.
And this is the biggest piece.
This
also goes back to working in corporate and dodging. They're going to fire me. Not fire me, but I'm going to get laid off because budget cuts and I'm too old. It costs too much.
Yeah.
Right. It's like define success, and I'm like, wow, I have time to do what I enjoy. So what's the trade-off? I have time to do what I enjoy. I can incrementally increase my skill set, learn new things, apply these new things. If I need to take time off, I don't have to go, hey, I'm going to take Tuesday on PTO.
Yeah.
I'm only going to half day. Like, well, we're like, and I remember going, why do I have to ask you to, but this is also this is a little bit of my anti-establishment authority problem. But now I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But I work harder and longer hours than I ever did in corporate, and I make probably 1/5 of what I did in corporate. By, I don't even know the measurement correctly, but by any measure of level of happiness, I am that more happy. So I don't make as much money. I work a lot harder, more frustrations. I have to do everything.
Yeah.
And don't make money, but I feel successful. Versus, I used to go to corporate. I could work 3 hours a day, go to meetings, and blah blah. Flip that back to me. It's great, Steve. Blah blah.
Yeah.
Nonsense. Everybody hated their job, whatever. But regardless of what you hear, but I was miserable, and I made a ton of money. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. So what? I'm like, well, I know I would love to have some of these things, but I certainly don't want that. And that overriding thing is this driver. Going back to the military, I worked in the engine room. It's hot. Yep. And so I feel that same thing. And now I'm like, wow, I appreciate where I'm at. I have my wife supports me. It's great. We're a partnership. We do these things. And when she said, well, define that success, and it's like basically what I've got.
Yeah. Wow.
So if you appreciate that, you recognize it. Yeah. Still got every day, man.
Yeah.
Every day. So come in trying to, so it's a long story, but I won't tell you a long story, but I did this volunteer prison program. So basically it was a nonprofit, and they would find people in corporate America or entrepreneurs, and they had a little, like a mini training session, but not much. They put you on a bus, they drive you to a medium security prison. Mm-hmm. You go in the gym, and there's these dudes it was a male, a men's prison. Yeah. And on the other side of the gym are all these dudes, and they had been taking this course on entrepreneurship and some other things, whatnot. And great program. And what it was the lady who founded it at the time was like, hey, you're nonviolent, whatever that drugs, whatever it was. But most of them were young, and there's a lot of stories in it. But basically they worked through this thing of getting to know people. They'd line you up on one side of the gym, these dudes on the other, and they go, okay, who's ever worn tennis shoes? You take a step forward, Oh, wow. And then it would slowly get to this point, like, who's ever made a mistake? And the next thing you know, you're standing right, like, because they had the gym separate, you're standing right in front of some dude, right? He's looking at me, I'm looking at him. Yeah. And then they would start asking, they would say, who's ever, made a comment, who's done this? Who's ever done something and gotten away with it, and like all this thing. And so you realize that we're all the same. Yes. There's just this fundamental, who's made, the point being, the classic one was who's ever maybe had too much to drink and hopped in a car. And so on one side of the gym, it's like, boom, and gotten away. Like, so anyway. Yeah. But the moral of the story is when these guys, when they finish their obligation to society, when they leave, they have this mark on them and they can't find a job. So this program was about, hey, start your own business. What type of business can you do? And of course on their side, they're like, well, it's completely daunting for anyone. Yeah. But for them, it's like double. And so their whole thing was they had this little sign that said, hustle harder.
Wow.
Because everyone's got to hustle. And this lady, it was great watching her. She goes, you guys have to hustle harder. I brought in all these people to teach you or to tell you what they've done. And so you get to talk about what this is kind of like we're doing, but much briefer, but you would talk about it, whatnot. And you look at the resume, and I would use all my corporate stuff and go, hey man, here's how you're going to be dealing with a dude like me on the other side. Right? Okay. And I would say, this is how I think in that role. This is how I act. This is how I expect you to act. Right?
Yes. Okay.
Boom, boom, boom. The basic of it though is all those things is like, it's like, okay, well, here's revenue and expense, and so they had these things, revenue and expense. Here's what you have to do. Here's the type of jobs that don't require a background check.
Yeah.
I would talk about, painting, right? Painting walls, right? Okay, you paint if you're a good painter. And they'd always bring in some hidden dude. So the great story was on the bus, you don't know who anyone is. You're like, oh, you're a volunteer. Okay, great. And so you go and you talk to these guys. And one guy gets up and goes, hey guys, how you doing? Because I'm Jim or whatever. He goes, some of you may have recognized me because I was here like 8 years ago. And he goes, I was in for 25 years for something drug related. He goes, and he goes, unlike you, he goes, I was guilty. They all laugh,
Wow.
And he's like, I was selling. He goes, I got caught. Because I'm sitting in prison, basically. And somebody walked up and goes, hey man, your attorney's here, whatever. And it turns out on a fluke that something that the state had done, they screwed up, and it was completely inadmissible. So his entire case from the prosecution fell apart, and he got out.
Wow.
So they go, time served. He'd been in like 5 years, and he left. And he's like, you know what I'm going to do? And the guy he's telling the story. I'm really paraphrasing it down. He goes, and one of the guys was like, look, man, I got a job. It's at Haagen-Dazs in New York City. And every night the trucks come in, we have a steam hose, and you clean out the trucks when the ice cream falls over.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm in the back of a Haagen-Dazs truck at 2 a.m. with a steam hose cleaning it out, right? He goes, and my boss was the biggest jerk, man. He was on me, man. No slack. And he goes, and here I've been in prison, and his lifestyle. He's like, the guy's like, I told you to clean this up. That's not clean. Get back and do it again. He goes, and he's talking to the dudes on the other side.
Yeah.
He was disrespecting me. I'm like, we're going to go, man. I can't have this.
Yeah.
And he goes, you know what? I stopped for a moment and I said, what do I want to do, man? Like I know these things. I did these things. I want to go forward. He goes, I need to eat this feedback. Eat that feedback and do what he says, and I'll get it done. He goes, so I went back in and I cleaned out the things. He goes, you know what? And he pauses and he goes, that guy's my best employee now.
What?
He goes, because I started cleaning, then I ran a crew of 2 guys, then I became a team lead, and he has this story. Team lead, then I became an assistant manager because I was doing a good job, then I became manager, then a director, and he's like the VP of Haagen-Dazs logistics.
Are you serious?
And I was just like, he goes, it took me 7 or whatever, how many years, 5 years of prison when he was out. And he's like, and I was sitting right where you are. And it's just dead quiet. And he goes, so don't let any, like, and you're like almost in tears. You're like, wow.
Yeah.
Anyways, so at the end of the thing, you get up and everybody says, they don't say thank you. They give you these little cards and you have to stand there like this in this line.
Yeah.
And they give all the dudes these little cards, like points. And they go, who gave you the most input? And so, of course, there's always some pretty girl in the group. And she gets like 100 cards.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then the Haagen-Dazs guy. And I got like, I don't know, like 10 cards and little card things. And all it is a little ticket. And they said, we value you,
Wow.
And so I was like, wait a second. Like, so I'm standing there and, these dudes are, hey man, thank you. Like, I'm like, oh, well, you're welcome, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
But my point is that at the end they go, we really appreciate you. That I go, dude, you guys have no idea. Like I get so much more out of that because I go, I've got it made. I got no problems.
Wow.
I got I'm not trying to overcome this. Yeah, I got to hustle.
Yeah.
You guys got to hustle twice as hard. And, and there's nothing's working in your favor.
Yeah.
And that also transitioned me into my entrepreneur. So when I'm sitting there, I have the thing down there, I'll find it, hustle harder. And I look at that and I go, I got nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
And I'm not hustling today. I'm screwing off.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Because can. This guy can't. And if we were sitting here right now, he would be like, dude, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And I just remember. So
wow.
in those, you would also see when you sat down with these guys, this intense hunger. For like, just, dude, I need to, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
I'll do whatever you say. That's the tie into the guy with the hose. He's like, I gotta do this, man. I got no choice. It's either I hit him, I violate parole, and I'm going back.
You're going back, yep.
Or I go forward. And he went forward, and he's a success. Wow. And it was like, oh, like, so maybe my story doesn't necessarily resonate with those guys. That dude's story did. It was great. It was just fantastically presented the way they did it. But what I took away from that was hustle harder, appreciate, value where you're at, do the work, all the way back to the military. Like, and then what's the thing that's tapping me on the shoulder? Like, hey man, I'm the corporate. There's a cubicle waiting for me in corporate.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what you have to sort of remember.
Yeah.
When if you're starting a business or whatever, and I started out in my basement, or actually started making posters and stickers first. It was the only thing I could afford, and I had I had to hire people. Now I can do that stuff myself. But start somewhere.
Yeah.
And that was I say the final thing was I saw this thing. It was like Steven Spielberg or something. Some guy wrote it or got up at one of those talks like, Steven, what was your suggestion for somebody who wants to become, a director of film such as yourself? And he just goes, start. That was it.
Boom.
So that's what I say. Just start, man.
Yeah.
Navigate it.
That's cool, man. Rob,
Okay.
I appreciate you, brother. No, I mean that you can't.
Roundabout.
You can't end on a better note than that, man. Let the people know where they can find you. Instagram, any handles, anything you got going on that they can tap in with you with. Just let them know, man.
All right. Studio Roboto.
Studio Roboto.
On Instagram, studioroboto.com.
Okay.
And I'm at the Switch 210 building, same as you guys.
Right here,
I'm on the first floor, so you can't miss me when you come around the corner.
I got you.
But I appreciate the time. I enjoyed it. Hopefully, I didn't burn through all your memories.
no, you good. Okay. You good, and all your information we'll make sure we put in the description so they can, have a direct link to you, man. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
See you, people.
And, so I told you, this was another phenomenal episode, right? You see the story. You now know the man. You now know what he does. And you can, if you go to his website, if you go to his Instagram, you see that he does it well. And he actually loves what he does and he's passionate about what he does. And this is the caliber of individual we're going to be having on this series for the Creative Conversation. So, as always, I appreciate you tapping in. Make sure you do me this one favor, like, subscribe, and share this with someone that needs to hear it. All right? We're going to see you next episode. Peace.